Now that we know how to interact with servers a little bit, we're going to take a look at another protocol. This one we're going to look at is going to be SMTP, which is the Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. And it's the way that we send messages to an email server. If I've got a client that I'm going to send a message from, so for example, I'm using Outlook or Apple Mail or something like that. I want to send mail to somebody, it's going to send a message to the email server using SMTP. So we're going to use Netcat here. I'm going to open a connection to a server on my local network on port 25 because that's the SMTP port. So I've got a response back from my SMTP server. You can see it says eSMTP, which is extended SMTP. And we're also running Postfix, which is the software that is being used. So I can now say EHLO, which is the extended SMTP version of hello. If I wanted to not use extended SMTP and just use SMTP, I would say HELO. But I'm going to use extended SMTP, and so I'm going to say EHLO. And it looks for an IP address or a domain name or a host name there, and I've just used blah.com just for fun. So now I need to say mail from, and I need to specify who the mail is coming from. Now, this is not the way it's going to look in the headers. The headers are going to come later. So this is just me talking SMTP to the mail server. And I can say to, for example, root at localhost. That's just going to go to the local server because that's pretty much all I've got set up on that particular mail server. This is going to have to be either a mail server on your local network, or in order to have a recipient to, the recipient has to exist on that server you're talking to. So it's either your own server that you have permission to send mail through, or it has to be the mail server of the recipient. Now I've got mail from recipient to, and I can just say data. So here I can say, and then from could be, and then subject. So now I've got a subject, and now I can just type the message. Now, once I'm done, in order to send it, you see the line that says 354 end data with carriage return line feed dot carriage return line feed. That looks like this. So I had a blank line, then I typed a dot, and then I hit enter again, and that's the carriage return line feed. Now I've got the message queued, and I can just quit out of Netcat. So I can also do things like potentially, and this may not work on the server that I am communicating with. In this particular case, verify does work because it says so. So these are actually the commands that are allowed through this particular server. There are other commands as well. These are the ones that are allowed here. Other servers may provide you with a different list, but if you want to just send mail, remember you have to say hello, and then you have to say who the mail is from, and then get a response back saying whether that's okay or not, and then you have to send the recipient, then you can send the data. So that's communicating with an SMTP server.